Hey everybody, today we are going to be reviewing a game that is very in keeping with a theme that you may have seen on our channel, role-playing games. But today we are going to be reviewing an actual board game that emulates that. It's called Role Player.
You surprisingly really enjoy this game.
Well, it's kind of like a synergy of all the things I love. There's a role-playing character creation aspect, which is fun. And
but I also feel like
have to place your dice.
I also feel like when we played this, you were still new to role playing. We got this in the summer.
Yeah, but I had been playing D&D for a couple months at that point. I already knew.
A couple as in two. Yes, because we got this before I went to Gen Con.
Yeah, because we ordered it that same moment that we played it the first time.
Right.
You ordered it on your phone.
But remember, you started playing.
Big sign, guys. If he orders it immediately and I let him, it means I like.
We actually went to a board game meetup in the Bronx, and we were introduced to this game, and immediately fell in love with it, and said we had to buy it.
Yeah.
Or I said we had to buy it.
It is a very good game. It supports 1 to 4 players.
I've never played with one player. Have you?
I have not. We've always played it together or with other people, which
2 to 4 is the most we've played.
Yes, yes. We have played with 4, and it is great with 4. It's also pretty good with 2 too. 2. But yes, 2 as well. But yeah, so let's take a quick look inside the box. So inside the box, we have our rule book.
Fairly short rule book.
I've seen plenty of longer rule books, that's for sure. But so we have a rule book, and then we have character sheets. So these are each
have an elf.
Yeah.
What I like is you on one side shows the female character, and flip it over, you have the male character. So there is no difference. It's just
it's just male, female.
So we have elf, we have orc.
So you have all your races. Like
Dragonkin.
Dragonkin is the one that everyone debates which one is the girl and which one's the
guy. Oh,
guy.
I figured it out though, remember?
Oh.
Halfling, dwarf, and human. So if you can tell with this cardboard, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but you can see there's one side that's a little more rounded than the other. The other's kind of flat. The flat side are all male characters. The rounded side are all female characters.
Interesting.
Yep, solved that one.
Dragonkin, just in case you guys are interested, the Dragonkin one, so that is you're saying that that's the
flat is male.
That's the flat side. So that's the male Dragonkin, whereas that's the female Dragonkin. But you can see how that's a debate that people talk about.
Yes.
It's come up almost in every game that we've played. So each one of those has, different holes. You guys can see they're holes. These are where you're going to set dice in as the game progresses. The whole point of this game is to build a character. That is legitimately the point of the game. You're just building a character.
Sounds ridiculous. It's actually really good.
Each one of these is your character ability scores. So you have strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, all down the line, just like you would on a character sheet. And you're gonna be slotting dice into each of these holes over the course of the game. The game ends when all the holes are full, and you see who has the most victory points.
But each one does something different. So if you slot something into strength, you get to flip a die from one side to the exact opposite side. If you do something for dex, you get to swap a die around from one location to another.
You just flip-flop.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that one. You can switch any two.
Anyone. If you select Constitution, you raise the value of a die up 1 or down 1.
Correct.
If you place it in Intelligence, you re-roll the die. In Wisdom, you then move your alignment around. Alignment's over here.
Yep.
And depending on what character you have, different character cards will kind of want you to skew in one way or another.
Just a second.
And the last one is Charisma, which
reduces the cost of an item in the market by, basically you get a token that reduces the cost of an item in the market.
By 1.
So also in the box, we'll save the dice for last, are some really lovely little coin tokens. These are cardboard, they're not metal. I want all the coins.
You always appreciate metal coins.
They are my favorite. Basically, I should just have metal coins and everything, but these are fine. Also in here are these little reduced amount tokens that you get when you slot something into the charisma to remind you that you have basically $1 off discount. Also included in the box are these cards. These are the initiative cards. So as dice are rolled, the dice are actually placed by the person who drew them out of this bag right here onto these initiative cards. And they order them in reverse order. Am I saying the right word? They're put in order, but they get to decide sort of like how they want to slot them, and then the person who takes the first initiative will get first initiative. They get that dice as well as first initiative when it comes to buying things in the market. So you have to be a bit strategic when you end up taking things. Also in the box are these lovely little cubes. These
for your alignment.
These are for your alignment and for your to remind you what color class you are, which is always seemed to
there are actually 5 cards.
Sorry, they were mixed up. Eric is holding the market deck in his hand. So in the market deck, there's actually 2 phases to it. They're the less expensive would be the right word I'm looking for ones, and then the slightly more expensive that come out later in the game.
So
these all do different things.
Right, for instance, here you have leather boots, but these are all purple leather boots. And here I have purple leather gloves. And it's saying on this card, if you have 1 of this color, you'll get 1 victory point. If you have 2 of the same color, you would get 3. If you have 3, you get 5 victory points. If you have 4, a whole suit. You would get 8 victory points. But only purple or black classes are allowed to wear these.
So these smaller cards, hold up your cards again so they can see the size differential. These smaller cards are your alignment cards. So on these cards, you see that there are little stars in gold and in silver. As you do things that change your alignment, as you use your cards to try to buff your character, your alignment may change, and you have one of the little cubes and it tracks on here where your alignment is. Now the goal is to get the alignment into the gold stars because those are going to give you victory points at the end. Again, there are lots of ways to earn victory points throughout the game, and I like that because it makes it way more strategic. And each different alignment card, these get handed out randomly at the beginning of the game, so you never quite know what you're going to end up being. Also, sorry, go ahead.
Well, there are skill cards that you can also purchase in the market, and this one in particular says that you would move your alignment over to the left, and then you would search the dice bag and exchange 1 die on your character sheet with a new die with the same face value. Now, that might not sound interesting. Why am I swapping out 1 color die for a different color die if it's going to have the same value?
Because of your backstory card. So everybody gets dealt a backstory card at the beginning of the game. And if you notice, there is a color chart on here. And this color chart exactly matches your character sheet chart. So you're trying to make the colors on here match when you place dice in here. Now you have to be, again, strategic about this because you can't just put the dice there. You have to build up starting on this end and then put a dice here and then a die here and then a die here in order to get the blue die at the end, if you have a blue die available. So there may come a time that you want to switch your dice around so that you're getting, again, bonuses at the end of the game with victory points. There's so many ways to get victory points in this game. It is a really well thought out game. So here are backstory cards. And then lastly are your class cards. So here's a barbarian. It's showing that if you get a strength score of 16 or 17,
which is what you would want with a barbarian.
Right. This is actually really well min-maxed for whatever, however you want to look at it. Then you would get 2 victory points at the end. So the numbers on the dice are going to end up adding up to a number. So they're D6s, you roll them, and you hope that you can build out numbers that will match the numbers here in order to get a score. Now if it's a range, you can fall anywhere in that range. If it says plus, then it has to be above it. I don't think there's any below.
No. But if
it's 1 number, you have to land on that number exactly in order to get the victory points. And each of these cards is double-sided, so when you get dealt it, you can choose if you want to be the barbarian or the warrior. And different abilities exist on these cards in these red that are specific to your character and to your class. So again, loads of ways to earn victory points to get to the inevitable end, which is when every single one of these holes in this character sheet get filled up.
Let's do some dice.
buy this enormous bag of dice. So in this bag,
thankfully it did come with the bag.
It did, thank goodness.
I appreciate
they
things like that.
There are a variety of D6s in all colors. Well, the colors of the game, I should say. I would say this is the one place that I feel like this game failed.
I was about to say, I'm not a fan of the dice colors.
The dice colors are fine. There are just so many cooler dice out there.
Yeah.
And they went with dice that have pips, I think, to make it easier for small children to play.
Sure.
So you could actually count the number of pips in order to count
cheap.
up. They look cheap.
They
cheap. Don't roll cheap. They feel nice. Like they feel like they feel like dice, like decent dice, but they don't look very modern.
As I say that, I pull a two out, and there's like a little white dot in the middle of it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
they're okay. They're not my favorite thing.
I'm not a fan of the color.
I'm tempted to go buy a bunch of D6s in other colors, like here are purple. Let me go find some really cool purple D6s and fill out this bag and just buy new dice. I mean, that basically is like me making this game over from scratch by myself.
But it's pimp your role-playing game.
Basically.
Yeah.
But I haven't done that yet. But that being said, there are a bunch of dice in this game, and there are red ones in there too. Oh Lord, he literally just spilled them.
There are red, white, black. I mean, there are a lot of dice.
You have to pick that up now. I'm not cleaning that up. I'm not cleaning that up.
But overall, I really enjoyed this game.
It's a very fun game. It is, however, I would say, not a collaborative game. You definitely, through the market phase, which we didn't really go into, but you can screw people over in the market phase for sure by buying something that you know that they want because they're trying to get that set of purple armor. But it is a very solitary game. I understand how this is a one-player game because it's really, whatever your score is at the end, you're fighting against yourself almost to try to get whatever your score is, but there's no way for you to tell during the game how the other people are doing to like try to outwit them. The only way to outwit people that I've found so far is to take cards that they need during market phase.
It's also, you will find...
Or take dice that you think that they need during initiative order, but that can screw you over because then you're later in the initiative order or earlier.
I haven't built the perfect character yet. You're going for something and you're like, I missed this one color die and I'm not gonna get that.
Yeah.
Or I wasted too much time trying to get 17 points in
this one thing.
Yeah, and
like you have to, again, you have to be strategic about where you think you can get the most bang for your buck when it comes to victory points, because you also get extra victory points for completing a lot of one thing or not. Like there's so many ways that, and there's also ways to lose victory points as well. Like if you mess your alignment up, you can lose 3 victory points just because your alignment's in the wrong spot.
But it is a good game. Highly recommend it.
Because you have to do so much strategy, that's why I like it so much. Plus, you're building a role-playing character. And then if you really wanted to, I guess you could take those stats and use them.
We haven't tried that.
We have not tried that. But imagine doing this as a game and then running a one-shot after with the characters that you created from this. Oh man, that sounds like an awesome way to spend a Sunday.
I think we need to do that one day.
So I love it.
Let us know if you have played Role Player, if you're at all interested now in playing Role Player, or if you're saying, nope.
Those people are so weird and now he has to clean up all those dice.
It's just not for me.
Them?
Alright guys, that is going to be it for our review of Role Player. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye guys.